What's going on, everybody? Had a little technical difficulty there. As you can see, background's changed a little bit. Here's our special guest. Aubrey, say hi. Oh, goofball.
I'm eating.
I know you are. So yeah, well, figured I'd jump in and answer those questions like we do. Tula was doing a great job, but I'm here now, so we're gonna get over kind of the subject we were talking about originally was, delays, right? Logan hit on it a little bit, but just kind of real world stuff that we've been facing the past few weeks, and this is just, quick hit stuff that has just been happening more consistently. So we're gonna go over scenarios we've seen and basically, what type of delays we run into and why it's prolonging builds, right? So I'm just going to run through those. So example, we had a customer supply their own parts, header install, catback exhaust, and a tune, right? Go to put them on, customer supplied the wrong headers. That's naturally going to mess things up, right? So that in itself, right? Huge. Put the headers on. They bolt right up. The problem was the transmission in the vehicle. There's two different types, and customer ordered the wrong one, right? So now the problem we run into is this job is allotted for a certain amount of hours. Well, now we just basically double the amount of time that goes into this one vehicle. Well, that compounds over time, right? Another one, another header install, funny enough, we've been seeing this more frequently. Brand new set of headers out of the box. Install them, right? And then when we install long tube headers or any type of exhaust manifold, that is, we smoke test them before we put the rest of the exhaust back up. Why? Tuning nightmare. Me being a tuner, naturally that plays a big part in making sure that, everything is good. What we have been seeing is a lot of exhaust leaks. So we had a string of one car. We basically went through 3 sets of headers that were sent from the manufacturer, and they all leaked. So it's one of those where that obviously is going to delay things, right? So now what happens is we get it, we communicate with the manufacturer, and they try to warranty it. Well, then we have to take it off. We have to send it back to them. Who knows, 2, 4, 6 weeks, and we trying to fit that back into the schedule, right? Again, this is allotted for 2 days worth of work, right? And then all of a sudden, we're booked out 8 weeks at a time. I think right now we're booked out like almost 11 weeks. So this vehicle.
And I just took out all of things.
Okay. So we're booked out, 11 weeks, right? So this car had that slotted time frame. Well, all of a sudden, we have to now wait for those manifolds to come back for warranty, right? Well, we don't know when they're going to come back. We don't know. So how do you schedule something like that, right? Very difficult. Very difficult. What people forget is we're basically a subcontractor, right? Look at it from a different point of view. So what we do, is we collaborate on with a bunch of different vendors, and we're basically the installers and the tuners. So we do make some of our own parts in-house, but there's a lot of stuff that we rely on different manufacturers to send us. So things we've been running into is quality control issues, missing components. We ordered a supercharger kit. I won't throw brands or anything under the table, out like that. But just to give an example, we're going to get in trouble for copyright by showing that. Be careful. But we order a kit that's supposed to be a direct bolt-on. Well, it's missing parts, right? So now you go again from 2 days worth of work, give or take, where now we're waiting a week for them to get the part and figure out what's there, right? There was one time we ordered 3 kits from the same manufacturer, and they all were missing parts or had the wrong part. And then it's trying to figure that out. Now, what that does is it kind of compounds, right? We have a very tight schedule, and we allot for the amount of workload we have. Well, then you run into issues like that, and all of a sudden it gets skewed, right? Just completely skewed. What's up, Logan? I know I can't get you in here either. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry. I'm just...
Oh, you're sorry? Why are you sorry? Okay, that's fine. So, Logan, if you want, what you can do is type in the questions that people asked from the previous one, and I can answer those when it comes time. But back to the superchargers, right? Missing parts and things like that. Well, it can take 1, 2, 3 days for it to get there. Well, we have stuff scheduled on those days that, the blower install was supposed to be perfect, right? So, again, that makes it very difficult when we rely on these vendors to get us what we need, right? Yep, she's having a good time. Aubrey, say hi. Look, mommy's watching. So, just to give you an example, right? Just a couple things. Now, the other thing too, bigger builds, right? Engines, transmissions, stuff like that. We are at the mercy of what the vendors have in stock and or have the capability of, acquiring, right? We have our select vendors that we trust, that have the quality, that have, a proven record, and we stick to those. There's probably other vendors out there that might be able to get you something quicker, but you got to question why, right? Why are the best and most reliable names in the business, taking longer to get stuff, but there's other ones that can get stuff quicker. It comes down to the quality and the components that are being used. So we stick to the highest quality. We order an engine, we have to wait for the engine to come in. Calling them, sending emails, stuff like that doesn't speed up the process. Trust me. In this industry, every company makes money when that product leaves their facility, whether it's an engine or a transmission or a fuel system, right? That's what they rely on for their reputation to acquire profit. So we're all in this to try and get them out as quickly as possible. We're still recovering from COVID in regards to acquiring components, right? So these are things you have to understand is not only are we at the mercy of waiting, but I've had engines take 6 months, right? So how do you schedule that again, right? We have a customer that paid for it and they're waiting, and then we're booked out 11, 12 weeks at a time.
I need to go potty.
You need to go potty? Okay. Give me 1 second, okay? Can you hold it for a second? Okay. Do you want to go with that, Lynn? No. All right. You want to go with mommy?
No.
It has to be me?
Yeah.
All right, goofball. This is uncandid, guys. This is live. I don't know if you heard, but my daughter broke her arm yesterday. You want to show them your cast? Broke her arm, so she had surgery yesterday. Okay, so we're hanging out with her today, getting her all settled in. So she wanted to jump on. She was going to answer some questions, but I think she's occupied.
Dad's in the middle. You're
So,
going to have to wait.
Yeah.
You want to wait or you want to go potty?
Okay. Anyway, so back to delays, right? Waiting on those vendors. And it varies, too, depending on the time of year, right? So, there might be times where they have stuff in stock, and then there might be time where they don't.
You want to
So,
get up on your own?
it's again, we're relying on that. So
Really?
you combine the fact of quality control where companies are shipping things, missing parts, wrong parts, things that don't necessarily fit like they say they're supposed to, right? And all of a sudden you start to really kind of fill up, right? Especially when you have a very busy schedule.
Oh, you can do it.
I don't want to go potty.
Oh, you you want to hang out and finish this? Or you want to see here? Look, that's Logan. Tulo. Say hi, Tulo. So you got, and that's just kind of an understanding, right? We've had, fuel systems where fittings are missing, right? We've had, like I said, headers where they literally are leaking at the exhaust flange mating to the header or to the head. What do you do in that instance, right? And then you compound a very busy schedule. We have, 6 to 10 cars dropped off every week with very tight schedule. And we run into that. Also, even going to, our level packages for Hellcats, we're just swapping pulleys, right? Anybody that's done a handful of those knows that sometimes those OEM pulleys don't always come off, right? Sometimes they struggle. Fortunately, we have the experience for it, but, normally our level 1 is done the same day. But sometimes you run into those situations where, outside of the norm of what you expect, right? So we're doing another example is we had a customer come in. We were just doing a blower install and a cam, right? They supplied the blower. We supplied the cam. But when we started taking the motor apart to install the cam, we noticed that the motor basically was destroyed. There were bearings, cam bearings, and metal in the oil pan. And
It's got my name on it.
yeah. What'd you do to your hair? What? Oh, jeez.
I fixed it.
So all of a sudden it went from a cam install and just a blower install to where this motor's done, right? We throw a blower in a cam and the thing's going to eat itself in a matter of time. So we have another one we're doing a cam right now. Literally, they sent me the pictures over. The cam bearings are shot on it. So, so it's now going to delay the time, right? That's not part of a normal cam install, is having to replace the cam bearings in an engine that's just sitting on a subframe. So, it's one of those. You gotta always be prepared for that. We try to do as much as we can, quality control, double check things. But when you are taking the time to inspect, when you are making sure you're checking all of the parts, right? We could just go, oh, you know what, we're just going to put the cam in and send it. That's not what's right. That's not what you should do, right? So we do always take the time to double check things. Hence why we have found that, you know, exhaust manifolds are leaking. You know, that's why we have found cam bearings that are destroyed. That's how we found oil in an oil pan, because we always take extra steps to kind of check things out as we're going in there. So, you know, when it comes down to a quality shop like ours, that's very important. You want to make sure that they're taking extra steps along the way to make sure that they're double checking everything, not only the work they're doing, but anything that they're coming close to.
Not a problem, but I'm fine because this is my daddy.
Yes. Yeah. Some good drugs from the surgery. But so, you know, that just some examples, right? And like I said, putting a fuel system on and have a batch of bad fittings where they leak. What else? I mean, Tulo, you can comment too. I know you've seen some weird things over the time as well.
Not my problem, but I like this one, but crazy.
Okay, crazy. So, but yeah, so, you know, it's pretty much it, guys. You know what I mean? It's kind of tuning, right? We'll go from tuning standpoint. You know, it's one of those where even if you double check everything on the install, when you start tuning, you might uncover things. So I've had vehicles where brand new blowers had flanges that were warped, and when we smoke tested it, we couldn't see it, but after a couple drive cycles, it created a very tiny vacuum leak, which creates nightmares, right? When you're 5, everything is fun, yeah. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, when even in the tuning stage of things, I can start to uncover other things that we normally might not see. Yeah, brand new lift, yeah, brand new fitting leaking. Yep, those are the worst.
If you get back up
Yep, went over that. Bad sensors, yep, bad sensors out of the box. We've had those. You know, when you're switching over. Oh yeah, when switching over to like a 2 or 3 bar, you know, you know, for a while, 2-bar map sensors were hard to find, so they were using aftermarket sensors, and they never calibrate the same. So OEM is the way to go on those. But you know, we ran into some issues with that. So. Trying to think, but yeah, like I said, tuning standpoint, we can identify vacuum leaks. We can identify, you know, on the dyno, for example, I had...
this one is not a problem, but I can be kooky.
Oh, you can be kooky?
You know?
Okay.
Like, I can play with my sisters because if I get at school and we push me and I fell down.
Is that how you broke your arm? No, I'm sorry. Sorry, that's how it happened. But are you doing okay? Surgery was good?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, finally.
Oh, finally, right? Yeah, it's, you know, it just comes down to, we had a car in the dyno, normally set up like this. It was street tuning it, identified that there was an issue when I was street tuning it, but they took it to a shop and supposedly did troubleshooting and get it on the dyno. It wouldn't even go past 3,500 RPM doing the dyno pull. Turns out they put too cold of a spark plug in and the gap was way too big, right? Well, now that turns into just a simple wide open throttle dyno session, into now we have to, you know, swap spark plugs, right? Couple hour delay. Now, they weren't scheduled for that, so that means I have to pull a technician off another job to throw some spark plugs in, right? So, yeah, so it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all a kind of a combination of the way the industry's going. What are you doing, goofball? You know, it comes down to so many variables when you're getting a lot of moving pieces together, right? Big builds, you get a motor from a manufacturer, you get a blower from a manufacturer, fuel system from a manufacturer, trans, drive shaft, axles, right? I mean, I've had, for example, drive shafts put in that were out of balance right out of the gate, right? So that stinks. You know, have to worry about getting that warranted and so on and so forth. So it's just, at the end of the day, shops like ours, we're parts installers, right? We put the parts on the car, and, you know, we are relying on the quality to be there from the other manufacturers. And then we are the ones, because we're the last ones to touch it. Oh, shipping delays, yeah. Yeah, back orders with no ETA. I'm waiting for an AC compressor, for example, right now for a car with no ETA. So you're left with aftermarket, which usually doesn't last, or, you know, trying to find a used one, you know, stuff like that. So my guys, when they can, you know, in between helping customers out, are always on the hunt. But that's the other thing. Shops like ours, being so small like we are, we can't sit there for, you know, 8 hours a day just hunting around for parts. We have to be able to service our other customers. We have to service future customers and follow-ups, and, you know, we have dealers that we service as well. So it's one of those, we do get put in a, you know, in a bind sometimes. But yeah, so that kind of summarizes that. So we'll jump over to Could you, should you? So I know we had some on the previous stream there. Let me see.
There's kind of like...
Oh yeah, Chris, for example, with remote tuning,
no,
we
that's
identified
not a
an exhaust
problem.
leak.
I could do it on my own because...
Let's see.
Oh no, this is...
Can you make 1300 horsepower compound boosted? Yes, you can.
I just trying to make something, but like...
Oh, you're trying to make something on the game? Okay.
I'm trying to make an iPad.
Oh, okay.
This is like called...
Got it. Got it. Yeah, so 1300 horsepower compound boosted. Can you? Yeah, you absolutely can. It requires a lot more. I mean, we make 1100 stock motors all the time. An example, it just comes down to getting more boost in it. So you build an efficient motor, nice big old stroker, real good heads cam setup, you know, and then it just allows it to breathe easier, and you can do it. So absolutely. Could you, should you run long tubes without a tune? Could you? Yeah. People do it all the time. Now, you know, to break it down in closed loop operation, the O2s will correct for the fueling changes based on that, you know, the exhaust change, right? The problem comes into wide open throttle. You know, on Hellcat powered vehicles with wide bands, you know, they're okay, right? They'll hit the targeted. What you're going to probably get is check engine light for cat efficiency.
I don't want to do this, but my mom just took me to the doctor, and you took me to the doctor.
That's right, because you have a broken arm, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Because I get to bring a Band-Aid home.
Oh, okay. You got a
like
Band-Aid?
The biggest one.
Okay.
Because I'm younger to not use makeup.
Okay. Okay. But on a 57392 carb with long tube headers, when you go wide open throttle, they go into open loop, which means it relies on fueling based on a pre-programmed setting. So if you truly free up exhaust flow and change how it's breathing, it might not be the safest or
be quiet.
Most optimal. Are your sisters snapping?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. At that given time. Okay, so that's why it's important. So fuel economy might not be the best. Power output's not, you know, optimized. So yes, it is definitely, you do want a tune sooner rather than later. What else?
Like the problem, this is not my head. This is your head.
That's my head, yes. Could you, should you booster pump? So we do run booster pumps on our couple of our packages. So it's one of those, depending on the circumstance, it's kind of a Band-Aid, temporary, right? What a boost pump does is it basically ramps up the voltage that goes to your fuel pumps, because fuel pumps are based off voltage. The more voltage they get, the more they can flow. Now, generally at any given time, you know, you're seeing about 13.5, 14 volts from a normal output system, where booster pumps can go over 21 volts. So what it does is it does tire the pumps out quicker, right? So my personal truck, my TRX, has a booster pump on it, you know, running 22, 24 pounds of boost. I know that's a Band-Aid. It's only temporary, right?
It's only temporary because this is my old problem.
Yeah, it's only temporary. So the right way is a fuel system. It is based on the power output of what you're looking for. You know, so that is part of the determining factor. You know, Red Eyes, Trackhawks, Durango Hellcats, TRXs, they have very stout fuel systems from the factory. So
you're looking in trouble.
That's right. And so a little bump from the booster pump is good, right? It'll get you by for a while. But if you're really starting to see 4-digit numbers, just invest in the fuel system. We call it the bloodline of everything, right? So the last area you really want to skimp on is going to be your fuel system. So we do strongly recommend that if you're going to be romping around at 4 digits for any prolonged period of time, to definitely do a fuel system.
I'm just, Kate is something very wrong.
Oh, okay.
I know, like, this lady, because Emily pushed me and puts her, like,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Punch me in skull doesn't make it.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
Anytime, better.
No, that's right. No punching. Yeah, so we do run it. It's good for certain levels, but if you go big power, definitely invest in the fuel system. Should you scat injectors on an NA57? You spec your injectors based on, you know, the power level that you're going to be making. So, you know, just throwing injectors in the car doesn't mean it makes more power. You need to get air into it first, and then you base your injector off the amount of air that you're putting into it. So just throwing scat injectors into a 5.7, does nothing, you know. So
kind of like you don't hit people.
yeah.
Because you need to go to the office.
Okay. So if you hit people, you go to the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Like at school.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Maybe this wasn't the best idea. So yeah, you know, the only time you'd put 392 injectors in is if your 5.7 injectors are tapped out and you added just a little bit horsepower, right? Normally you want to go to something larger to accommodate whatever type of power increase you have, but there's really better injector choices out there. PD blower, Sentry for daily driving. It's personal preference, right? So I know Logan hit on a little bit in the part 1 of this. PD blower, you know, is basically all the boost right away, right? So you get that immediate low mid-range power. Centrifugal blower is more linear, meaning your boost down low is low, and then at higher RPM, the more boost, right? So it is, you know, all personal preference. Some people like that instant hit. They love that torque. So, you know, roasting tires and stuff like that.
I just need to go to potty.
You still have to go potty?
Yeah.
You just said you didn't have to go potty. Now you have to go again?
Yeah.
Well, go.
I want you to help me.
You want me to help you?
My
Okay.
arm hurts.
Okay. I know your arm hurts. So.
No, my arm broke.
Your arm broke? Yeah.
My pass hurt.
Oh dear. All right. So, let's do one more.
Stop.
If you have a truck, ZF trans or RFE for power. RFEs are horrible. ZF trans for sure. So, but yeah, guys, little quick appearance. So I gotta go and take a little princess to the potty.
We'll call you back.
We'll call you back. Okay. So, this is a
My
quick
hair's
one.
so kooky.
Your hair is cool. We told you should have brushed it before you went on here.
That way.
What?
This is.
That's
Wait,
kooky.
I can't
Oh, we got
see.
one more question here. Whipple 390 car. Should you go dual fuel pumps on my current injectors to upgrade to 1050s down the road? Again, injectors, fuel system is all based on the power output and the fuel type being run. So, you know, spec accordingly.
Playing dollhouse with my friends.
Okay. So, you know, basically come up with that horsepower goal, the fuel type you're going to be running, and then
need
we
to go
spec
potty.
according. All right. She has to go potty, everybody. Keep the questions coming. We'll answer them next week. I'll be back in the shop. Again, thank you for checking in.
I'll call you back.
All right, we'll call you back, all right? We'll call you back next week. Thank you, everybody, for checking in, and have a good weekend. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.